will send you the element about the certification of the training, maybe to be able to use it in the future with the people that you support. So as I promised in the beginning, this conference is also a space for discussion. So now we are going to have a discussion about the future of vocational training. If, for example, the future of vocational training necessarily include new technology, which skills should we target in the future for vocational training for people with autism? But if we can also broaden a bit the subject and speak about people with disabilities in general, with intellectual disability in particular, please feel free also to come in with your questions, your reactions, and your comments. To moderate this, so this is not a panel, this is like a discussion, but to moderate it, I will give the pointer to Gareth. Please, Gareth, if you can, when you have a question from the audience, if it's possible to repeat it for the people online so they can hear you. And yes, so feel free to share. Gareth, feel free to guide the audience, and yeah, have a good time.
So does anybody have anything they'd like to ask or share at this point? Yeah. I suppose if I start off then, if that's all right, because I think I've had some conversations which were great when we broke the coffee then. And I think with anything like this, I probably just think of more and more questions all the time, and my mind goes very, very fast. So thinking about the virtual reality headset, I think in the picture, it's like a computerized image, if that makes sense. Is there a way you could go with a video camera and film the actual place, and that becomes the background that you work in? So it's the actual place rather than a computerized representation. Does that make sense?
If you can do it, you can 3D scan the physical environment and then transfer it into the virtual world. It will still look a bit fake, digital, but it will be more realistic.
Yeah.
The problem with that is very expensive.
Okay, so for the people online, just to say it is possible to scan in, and correct me if I'm wrong, the actual place and film it and put it on, basically, but it's very expensive to do that. And the reason I said that when we were talking there, Freddie, about widening it for other people with additional disabilities and the like, the app that I showed you, the Picture Path app that schedules things earlier, they've done lots of work on creating schedules for autistic individuals, people with disabilities, perhaps going to a football stadium for the first time, or going to watch sport in a certain place, and they film and take pictures of the actual place you're going to. Or if you're trying to navigate Manchester Airport, which is horrendous, by the way, you know, knowing in advance where you go and seeing the actual pictures can help reduce the stress. So again, I think there's, for me, having seen that in a different way, not through virtual reality, just through images, I think there's some great opportunities potentially to think about how we create that virtual tour, I guess, before you go. So if you're going for an interview somewhere, if like the week before you can walk through the front door, you can meet the person you're going to meet, and you can see all these things, it potentially reduces some of the stress of when you arrive. I don't know. Does that make sense? Yes.
And when I say expensive, just to be clear, I don't just necessarily mean money-wise.
Yeah.
I also mean performance-wise, because since this is a standalone application, it only runs on the headset. It's basically a mobile phone inside the headset.
Yeah.
If we had a computer connected, a laptop maybe, with a separate graphics card and stuff like that, it would be able to run something more, let's say, visually appealing.
Yeah.
So we also have limitations performance-wise, and also money.
Yeah. So again, just for colleagues online, the limitations of the headset there is that it's a standalone thing, piece of kit.
It's a low spec.
Yeah. So to get the spec we'd need to do some of the things we just discussed, you'd have to have it connected and a bit more bit more tech in it or whatever. I'm not very technological. I couldn't even pick up a carrot before, so don't worry about it. Anyway, but I think though also when you think about, I guess from my experience, this project and where it sits now, you know, thinking about where we might want to be in 10 years' time and how actually in 10 years' time maybe that is available in there. Probably now is the time to think, isn't it? What could happen, I guess, because things move quickly, don't they? Does anybody else have any thoughts or questions? Yeah.
Actually, right now, with what Freddie said at the beginning, for example, with the Apple Vision, now that you have a combination of virtual reality and also augmented reality, which is more information inside the physical space, not the virtual space, you possibly in a few years maybe could do the same thing in the restaurant, inside the physical kitchen of the restaurant, and also have a board that says you can now pick up the orange and also have a physical orange, but also have a virtual knife. So you can avoid the risks and the dangers of using a physical knife, and also have the virtual help from an agent or an AI that tells you what to do, helps you along the way.
So I'm going to attempt to summarize that because there was a lot that I didn't understand there. But I think the reality is, I think that potentially in a few years' time, you could have the headset where you see the actual kitchen, but then the support or the things come up on the screen. So I guess it's a bit like the TV show Halo, where the little person, have you ever seen that? It's a computer game anyway, this TV show, which is part of a computer game, and the little assistant comes up to tell them about things when they're battling aliens and things. I don't know the details.